Hello everyone, this is Neeraj. I am co-founder of Bitpod. Today we are going to talk about Bitpod platform. I have Sukant with me, joining me to talk about Bitpod with me. Sukant,
Hello, guys. I'm Sukant. I'm also a co founder of Bitpod, and we are so excited to talk to you about the platform and the applications that we have built in. But before we begin the demo, Neeraj, I think the audience would be very interested to know what Bitpod application is all about.
sure, yeah, I can take that question. So Bitpod is a application platform as a service. It's a APaaS category. It is also defined into a low code development platform category. Application platform as a service is hosted in cloud, and you know our customers use this to build applications faster. Low code is it requires minimum coding to do any application development. Let's take that. If I have to answer that in a different way, and go a little bit more in detail, let's look at how anybody or any company would go about building an application. Uh, there are multiple pieces to it. The first one is software development. When you're doing software development or doing any enterprise scale application development, you definitely need a back end. Then you need a front end. Front end could be mobile or web app. Once you are done the development, you need to host it, deploy it in a hosting environment, which could be Amazon, Azure, Google Cloud. You need to worry about buying tools for your developer and or any hosting if you're using any commercial products such as database. Once your application is production, you need to worry about scaling, backup, and performance. Within backend, let's say if I'm building a application, I need a database, I need to secure that database, or I need to provide security for my user to log in and give them, right access, and so the data, my data is visible to whoever is using. You need to also build a lot of business logic. So that's a lot of work for around building an application. What Bitpod does is it kind of gives you everything out of browser, and it kind of reduces your application development time to 10x. Also the cost. If you're building something in a year, probably you would end up building in this platform in a month of time. In the next segment, we will give you a demo of some of the applications we have built in Bitpod, and then we also show you how those applications were built in Bitpod using a browser environment. Okay, so before I take you inside app and show you what we have done in apps using the platform, I can just give you a sneak peek of what are the features of Bitpod. Bitpod is a multi-tenant platform. That means you can serve multiple customers, you can build multiple apps within this platform, and these apps are physically from a hardware level to database level very segregated. Their business logic is separate, although they are built on same platform. It offers navigation, capturing, form designer, view designer, responsive to handle mobile views, multilingual. It offers workflows, integration, and security, which is a very important piece of this product. And this allows you to integrate any of your third party or your legacy application into the apps which you built using Bitpod. So that's very high level about Bitpod. Now let's talk about apps we have done in Bitpod. Today we can discuss Workpay. This is an app hosted within Bitpod, built within Bitpod. And this is a Workpay app. It has workforce, payroll, leave, timesheet management, also e-commerce functionalities. Let me show you e-commerce, how e-commerce you can take any customer can take their store online and use e-commerce as a backend built on Bitpod. So here we are after login. This is the app selector. We have built a lot of apps using Bitpod, and this is the interface of it. Just to give you a high level, workforce management, payroll, talent management, or recruitment, performance of your staff, compliance for any alert or any government compliance. It will remind you to do that. Self-service for employees, training management, project management, assets management, sales CRM application, commerce. Yeah, this is what we're going to talk about today more in detail. Shift management to manage shift of your retail staff, people who are in your store, they are working in different shifts, so you can manage that. It would send an alert. Administration to manage all these apps and configuration, and to customize these apps, we can use customize to configure in the way you want. Commerce. Let's talk about commerce. It has 3-4 sections. Customer section gives you the list of customers. Product section gives you products. Let's look at products, how they are listed. We have tried to emulate how they would appear on the public website. This is for a product manager or business owners or management to add new products. I can see different categories. I can filter it based upon bags, clothing, and so forth. I can go back to all, add a new product. So add name, description, pricing, categories, what we are seeing there. And typical all product attributes you can add here. You can add thumbnail images and multiple images here. So how a multiple images would show. So if I go inside this product, this would go into detail, and I can see more images. I can see the attributes I had added. So this is a product management for any e-commerce platform. To manage categories, we can look at categories, add new categories, and edit existing categories. If your end users are entering reviews, you can see the reviews from here and see what people are saying about your products. Order management, if you are doing B2B sales, so if a sales order comes, you can see here invoices, any point of sale invoices which are being entered from point of sale will show up here. Shipments, any shipments if you are sending will visible here. All these screens are pretty editable. All this menu structure can be changed within few minutes. Inventory, stores, sell, point of sale. Let's look at point of sale screen. Right. So here we are. Here are categories, products, different categories. I can add a product. I can remove a product. It shows taxation, total pay. I can process this. Okay, so this is your preview of the receipt. If it's a cash, a payment as a cash, you can print the receipt and done with it. So this all is built in Bitpod. The data model, the hosting, some of the UI components, right? Security, everything is done through Bitpod. This point of sale applications can be also opened separately if you have your sales staff on a point of sale actually, and then you don't want to expose them everything, all the components of product management, so you can just show them point of sale app. So yeah, this is for a point of sale terminal, and everything is taken away. Good. Let's go back to the apps, right? So some of these apps, so all these apps, shift management, workers list is done through Bitpod. I think that's a good view of what apps we have done and how they are done, and let's now look at Bitpod, how these apps were built in Bitpod. Let's look at Bitpod platform now, how the apps are built on the Bitpod platform. Let me log in. Okay, here we are in the Bitpod platform. That's the landing page. It is showing me my apps. So I just have right now one backend, one environment, which means one instance, or you can say one app. All the apps which I was showing you in Workpay here, right? These are front end modules of a system, right? So all of these data models and their logic and the site and the hosting is within this environment. I can create a new app, right, which will give me a total different instance, and total from hardware to database to level. It will create a new environment. Let's try that. So I can, for demo sake, I can call it a demo app, right? I can also import if I have already built a environment and I have some workflows, some data models already built into that, and I want to take into a different environment within Bitpod, let's say from dev to test to production. I can export this whole environment, which means the metadata, the business logic, as well as my data, and then I can import that into some other environment or create a new app and build my new app based upon my existing. I can also support using this. I can support multiple customers. So if I have a solution, I can export that solution and build a new solution for a totally different customers. That's generally how we do it. So if I have a new customer and I need to give some of these apps, so I would they would register on Bitpod and create their instance, and we can set that existing apps we have built in this environment by importing all the metadata. Let's create it. Okay, so now this is a new demo um, environment or demo app, and you can see some of these models are already created. Right, it's showing yellow, which means some of the components are being built, while as a developer I can still go and start building my logic, and it's trying to deploy it. It will turn into green, which will be active. That means all the hardware and all the processes, all the machines are set up and ready. So while this is being done, for today's demo, let's look at what we have already built and the commerce app I was showing you, how that is built in this particular environment. So let's log in into it. And you saw there were 4 or 5 models, system models, stars showing the system models. But now this one has, I think 100, 150 models, because we had so many apps and every app requires data to be stored someplace. So, if let's look at products, so where these products are sitting, right? So let's go and see where that product model exists. I can create a new model, but let's first, demo sake, let's look at what we already have. Okay, so I have a product model here. Right, and it's showing a product has a ID, status, name, description, display order, max allowed quantity, unit of measurement, tags. Most of the features, whatever a product has, is add-ons of product. What is the SKU number? Product attributes, that if it has multiple colors, sizes, weight, brand, material, and you can just add a new field. So if I had to add a new field, I can just go and add it here. So let's say string, or I can also add a geo model, geo point to store a location. I can have a date, number, string, or I can make within this model, I can have a embedded model. I can embed other objects into this model, which means having a child model and parent model, which generally does not exist in a lot of these application platform services. So we extend it. You can also have a field as a array. So if I want to store, let's say, a set of addresses, or a set of phone numbers for, in case of product, if I have multiple images, I can use a list rather than having multiple fields for that. So I can save it. So this gives you about how a database, so database is built. So to kind of go back, step back from models, and if I have to describe the section, so this is a data section. So I have models here. I can apply what security I can give on the model, who can open, who can access a specific data, who can fetch the list of the products from a user UI perspective. So I can have my users and roles built into it. Then deployment. So once I make any changes, I need to go and publish that to environment while I'm doing my development, while I'm doing my designing work, that doesn't have to go to server. Actually, if a user is already using a model, while I am trying to do it, it will get impacted. So once you have made all the changes, let's say I had to add few fields, you will probably go and deploy it, and every time you deploy it, it'll create a different version. So because we have done a lot of work, so we are at this version right now, right? So you can see what are the versions in behind. So it starts what changes were done, so you can enter a comment. This is kind of like checking in the code. This is like kind of checking in the code. So now access keys. If other applications needs to pull your product list, let's say there is an app or there is a third party system who needs to get your customer information or your product information, you can build different access keys and activate them and give that to third parties, and they can pull data based upon what permissions you have assigned to this access keys. So if you want only products to be pulled by third party and not your customer data, you can assign access key and set up permissions for that access keys. Now going back to models, right? So you're looking back. Let's look at the product now. Okay. So let's say I need to add some code or validations on when a new product is created, I can come back and select different events or different triggers. So before a new product is added or after a new product is added, before a new product is deleted or a product is deleted, after a product is deleted, before it. This is very typical of event model, where you can write your own code, because you could have so many scenarios or use cases. You want to push some system data. For example, one of the common use cases, if you are creating a new product and you want to assign a product ID in a specific way, let's say P00101 or any specific format of ID you want to give, which user will not be entering, it's self assigned, then you will probably write some code here. If you want to do some validation, let's say, okay, a product should not be created without a thumbnail image, you could write that kind of logic here. You could do some bit of that logic on the client side, but mostly you can also double check here. Then security is about who should be able to create a record, load a record, save a record, or delete a record. Not every user can create a product, so you can turn that or off from here. If you want to open public access to something, especially let's say you have a website where there is a people come and submit their contact information, or they are interested in your newsletter, or you're submitting a lead. They are creating their contact, filling in their contact information for more information. In that case, you don't need to be authenticated, so you can set it up as unauthenticated, and people can, without logging in, can enter the data. On the data tab, we can look at the data. Actually, these are some of the products. We can do some different queries, some aggregated query using the query model. This is a query designer for developers. If you're not very comfortable with API and you want to quickly see what data is coming, you can attach a workflow. We'll go to workflow section and discuss more about it. And APIs, the moment you create a model, we give you a set of APIs. You don't have to write any code for the APIs. These APIs can be used by mobile applications or any web applications to get push the data. This is the API REST. These are REST endpoints to communicate with your system. In typical relational world, you used to write SQL queries, but in the modern world, to communicate with any server objects, APIs are needed. So these are automatically built. No code needs to be written for that. If you some of these are out of the box APIs, about 100 APIs, let's say, approximately. But if these doesn't meet your kind of end users or developers need, you can write a new API here, and write your code right out of the browser and save it, define input parameters, so you don't need to buy any tool or set it up out of the browser. You can do it. That kind of covers our model area. We talked about deployment access keys. Now let's go to hosting. Let's say I'm building my website, which is, this is my website, right? You can see it has a web address. There's some HTML. I can see, content here where all this should sit. you can build it yourself, develop it, or you can use our framework. Within Bitpod, it provides you to manage this menu, and build the user interface, build these tiles, assign a logo and homepage, and then that needs to be deployed. So this is the site which we use, right? I was also showing you in the while I was showing you the app, the point of sale, which end user will use, or the sales executive will use. So we have hosted that here, right? So let's look at this. How a site has, you can upload site code, and again version is managed here. You can define routes. Routes are generally these. How my URL should look like. Then you can do security. What will be my access URL, login URL, logout URL, access keys for the authentication. We can talk more about it. We are getting into a bit technical zone here. You can also, if you're developing, you're using some tools to do coding out of the Bitpod. We also allow you to do CI integration and then push your web pages or code right into the site, right from your tools using the CI, continuous integration. Now, once you have a site running, we also give you a SSL certificate. So once you create a site, a SSL certificate is already assigned to you, which is here, right? So you can take this public IP, bind to your domain. You don't need to buy any SSL certificate, and that is already assigned out of Bitpod, which is the case here. So for this domain, there is no need to buy an SSL certificate. The Bitpod platform takes care of it. Let's look at workflows now. A workflow is a business process. For example, right, somebody submits a time of application. We can look at, in our organization, people submit time of application, and we have created a workflow for that. So this is the workflow. We are jumping into a workflow designer now, right? Workflow designer comes with a set of tools. If you want to push data into Salesforce, read write data from Salesforce, read write documents on Google Drive. This is Pete and Bass. This is our backend, the models we created, product. So if I want to read product or write product, when a new product is created, I want to get the information and send a approval task. I would get the data from here. I want to generate a PDF file or Excel file, the data which is sitting in model, or I can pull data from Salesforce and create a PDF or Excel file, or I can pull data from our product tables, which is Bitpod tables, and then you can build a PDF or Excel. You can do some transformation. I can take product information and I can take customer information. I can merge them and put into a different model. I can write business rules, right? Business rules are like, if this is the product, what should be the discount, right? If this is the product, this is the month, okay, there is a Christmas, this should be the discount. So you can write unlimited set of rules, in this business rule shape. REST API, you can call third-party endpoints. We already have shapes for this, but let's say you have other companies' products built. Most of these companies, other third-party products have their APIs, like we have APIs, and most of the products have APIs. So we can call their APIs using this shape. Some of these you can send a calendar invite, you can send an email notification, you can have a gates, X or and or conditions, which are these shapes to make a decision whether to go this way or that way. There are some more shapes. You can do pooling, you can have tools. There are some start shapes. You want to start with the email, or you want to start with a form submission. Like I was showing you WorkPay apps. So somebody fills in the form on your website, and then the workflow kicks in. Or it's a timer based. You can schedule a job or workflow to run at a specific day at a time. So a lot of this is a very powerful tool, workflow designer. Okay, so what this workflow is doing, when somebody enters a time off from the site I was showing you, from the WorkPay app, this comes in here. You get the employee list, populate requested employee data, check who is the manager, send a notification, get employee manager, populate manager. Typical workflow. Send for assign a task to manager, and this is a time-based event. So if somebody doesn't respond to a task, it will expire in a 1 day or 2 day, and then it can be escalated to manager's manager. You can have unlimited notifications can be an email, notifications can be a text message, right? And then you have multiple end paths, right? So very very typical of workflow. This can be a very very complex process which you can achieve just by dragging and dropping these features. And this is a property window. Let's say if I want to assign a task, right, who should the task be assigned to? You can do it here. You can have a name for the task. You can have what email should go to when this task is assigned, what should be the subject, who should be CC. So there is a lot of properties you can set, very powerful features, some of these in Workflow Designer. So I'm going to close the Workflow Designer now. Let's look at some of the system information, right? So with this Bitpod, we are working in an environment in an app. How much memory my Bitpod app is using? Do I need to scale up, right, or do I need to upgrade my plan? You can monitor that from here. What is the CPU usage here? How many processes are running? You can see the CPU process by process. There are two engines running. This is a clustering environment now because you have two engines. We can have multiple engines running based upon the workload you have. What is the CPU of each? This is like each pod VM. It's like a tiny virtual machines or a container. Hosting, where your websites are hosting, what is hosting within this environment or this machine. Nothing, you never had to build these hardware. When the moment you create a instance, like I created demo instance, all these are given to you. Where is my OAuth service? Where is my security layer? This is my security layer. Where is my load balancer? This is my load balancer. Where is my caching? This is my caching. So my app designer, this is the model I'm working in design, and so this is my designer service. So very well distributed load among different services, and different set of images and VMs behind it. Okay. So you can monitor here. You can actually look at the logs of these machines. So if I want to see what is happening, is there any errors, I can log in here and I can see while I'm doing you demo what is happening here. I can see some logs here. Okay, there is an error. I can monitor that. Where that error happened, what is the line number. So this helps the support people to actually look at sitting in browser, not much to do, right? Just copy paste it and contact the maybe L2 support and send this. You can also as a support person, I can connect to the actually a console of it, which is the Linux machine behind it. So I can fire some queries. Where is my code sitting? I can see my code. I can see the logs from here. So again very unique, very powerful features. Not a lot of products, similar category products have these features where you can connect to the backend machines and look at the logs are sitting in the browser. Okay, so I think when the app designer, this is in the making right now. We are still cooking the designer where you will be able to drag and drop and build a mobile app. So you can see how my site will look at the mobile, and you can drag and drop the elements, set their colors, set their properties, assign data to your site. So this is again a powerful. This is still in the kitchen. So probably another quarter or so we will be releasing this in our Bitpod area, right? So I think that covers most of the Bitpod features, models, which is my data model. Hosting is to host it. This will be the designer piece right now. The website making or the front end making is part of this. You can still do it from here. We can build the forms here. But we will be bringing a lot more advanced components to build front end mobile apps or front end sites right out of Bitpod drag and drop fashion, which is WYSIWYG fashion. Okay, so that kind of concludes my demo, right? Let's see if our demo piece is ready or it has turned green or not. Here we go. Okay, this is active now, right? This is what we created just now. I can go and create a new model here, and I can call that, let's say, customer, right? Okay, soft delete, activate. There is ID automatically generated, and just create, right? So your first model is created in a totally new environment. I can go and deploy that model right now, right? So once I deploy, okay, customer model, submit. Okay, I just deployed the first version. Okay, see, there you go.